Hi, welcome to Cooking with Cori. I'm your host, Cori Doern, and today my special guest is Melissa Elsdon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show. Yeah. I'm pretty stoked because Melissa and I have had the pleasure of working together on a little farm called Clearwater.
A little farm, for now.
For now, but it's going to get quite large. And I've mentioned Clearwater Farm along with the other local farms that we have up here.
Okay, good.
Because we are in the Green Belt, and we do have Class 1 farm soil.
Yeah,
and that
phenomenal.
is a big deal.
Yeah, we did a little bit of veggies at the farm this summer. We had an amazing yield, so we did. Yeah, Nathan and I were very impressed. It was good.
And Nathan is the farmer, and what you're seeing in front of you here is some of that beautiful bounty from the harvest. Yep. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about that, but also on the show today, we're going to be making something fantastic that I'm really stoked about. It is
pizza. We're going to make rustic pizza with handmade dough with fresh herbs and some local toppings. We're going to put jalapenos from Clearwater Farm. We're going to use forested heritage pork from our farm in Wabashine. We're going to do a tomato sauce right from Clearwater, and everything basically, I think, except for the cheese, is going to be from Clearwater and Tenfold Farms.
It's a Tenfold Clearwater joint production.
Yeah,
we're pretty stoked. And because we've got so much cooking to do today, we're going to get right to it.
Let's do it.
So I think it's really good for me to see how you make pizza dough, because that's not something I'm usually keen on doing. I mean, people who know me know that I'm more of a, fly by the seat of my pants kind of instinctual chef.
And I'm absolutely the same. Today's recipe for pizza dough is actually really versatile. You can actually use it for bread, but what we're going to do is we're going to start with 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, and you can mix this in any sort of jar. I'm also going to put 2 tablespoons of really crusty sugar in there.
Oh, good.
Doesn't need to be crusty.
No, it's handy.
Yep. Then we're going to add a little bit of warm water, and just enough so you can mix it all up. Then we're going to set that aside because that needs to proof. And by proof, I just mean it needs to rise up and get foamy and frothy.
Fantastic.
Yep. So we're going to set that aside.
And you mentioned herb, and so one of the things that you had me doing was some of the herbs that you harvested and then dried.
Yep.
I did like a little bit of a rustic chop.
That's
I don't know if you
perfect.
can see it, but so you can add that in.
Yep. So today what Cori did was chop up lemon thyme and oregano. And oregano actually grows really well despite the season. I pulled that out from underneath a little bit of snow this morning.
Nice.
So thank you for chopping that up, and that can actually go right into the bowl.
Excellent.
And then we're going to add a pinch or 2 of salt just to give the dough a little bit of flavor. I like a lot of salt in my cooking. Probably not good for me, but
I mean, it's a good
my
thing
flavor.
To have.
Yep.
Because there's certain things that absorb the flavor of salt, and so you want to, like potatoes. If you've over-salted something, the best thing that you could possibly do is throw a potato into it, and the potato will suck up that extra salt.
I did not know that.
It's true. It's a fact.
Learn something new. Okay, so basically now we're just waiting until the yeast has risen to do the next steps. So Cori's going to make us a tomato sauce.
I am, and so while I'm getting that oil nice and ready, if you want to put your hand over it, I want to point out that what you've done is you've taken the time to can. And I think a lot of you are familiar with the canning process, where you sterilize the jars in hot water. You get whatever you're putting into that hot jar to be hot, because you want to go hot to hot. And then it goes into this jar. You make sure that there's no little air pockets or anything like that around it. And then you put your little lid on it. And then when you're ready to use it, you go and grab it. Now, this is a very important fact I'm about to tell you. When you go and grab it, you want to make sure that this lid is flat. In fact, you want it to kind of be convex. If your lid is like this,
it's no good.
It is no good. In fact, don't even do the, well, maybe it's a little bit good. It really isn't a little bit good. It's a lot bad, and you got to toss it no matter what. So ultimately, you've done a good job canning. When the lid, you hear that. When you open it up, we're not going to hear that because we've actually already pre-opened this. But I think our garlic is nice and hot.
You're good to go for that.
We both love garlic, so we're going
to do as much as possible.
So when you're putting your garlic in your oil, you want to make sure your oil is not too hot, because we don't want to brown or blacken the garlic. We just want it to become fragrant. And that's something that we got going on right now here. As soon as you can smell that garlic,
smells good.
That's when you know you can add the rest of what you're doing. Can I put in the whole jar?
Yep, let's do the whole jar, and we'll cook that down.
Excellent.
And I might put in a little bit of salt too once you get the tomatoes in there. And that's what you want, a lot of steam and bubbles and splatters. That's great.
And this is not a pasta sauce that we're doing per se. We're doing a pizza sauce. So we're not going to load it up with herbs or anything because you've already put the herbs to be in your dough.
Yeah. It's a nice, really easy meal to make. You can kind of make it for whoever eats pizza and likes pizza in your family. For example, when we make pizza at home, we put a ton of toppings on like we're going to show today.
Right.
But my kids don't eat a ton of toppings. They eat a really plain tomato sauce and cheese. So you can make this for whoever in your family. You can customize it. We do make your own pizza nights.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a really, I actually kind of want to take a moment to say about this. I've turned up the temperature on this, so I had it so that the oil was hot, just enough so you could hear that sizzle when the garlic went in, which I'm sure you folks who heard it at home, I heard it here. And then just got the oils and the smell of the garlic to be released, and then immediately we put in our tomatoes. And I got to say, those are really, really beautiful tomatoes. You know, we go to the stores and we buy them in cans, and that's really the canning process that mega corporation has done. But in this case, this was hand-picked.
Yep.
And then boiled down and then peeled.
Hand-picked with love.
With love.
Yeah.
That's tasting
so
love.
Our yeast is ready. You can see it's got nice foam and froth on top. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into my bowl.
Excellent.
And with pizza sauce, which is different from a bread recipe, you also want to put in a little bit of olive oil, usually about 2 tablespoons.
Right. What does that do?
That's just going to give the dough elasticity. So when at the end of the show, we're going to show a little bit of kneading and how we make that. And you're going to see why that's important. I'm going to add in water. I don't know how much water I'm putting in. I put in water until it feels good.
Okay, so you're eyeballing it. And this is the key point, and I'm loving that you said that, because this is the whole message that I'm trying to get across, is that it's really great to look at a recipe, but ultimately you're going to make it your own, because there are so many variables that you have to take into consideration. You know, maybe you thought you had brown sugar and you didn't, so now you're going to have to put in some honey or maple syrup or whatever the case may be. And even though baking is one of those exact sciencey kind of things, it's also how you feel it, right? And I'm sure that if you switched up the oil, it might have a totally different
a different flavor profile.
Absolutely.
I've used vegetable oil. I've used canola oil. Olive oil is nice if you can get a nice olive oil.
And also, like, I guess if you wanted the flavor of it, I mean, we're doing something Italian. But, you know, if you were going to do a raw pizza, you could do avocado oil, or if you were doing something with, like, shrimp, you might want to use, like, a coconut oil.
Absolutely.
What you're going for elasticity, I guess. When we come back after the break, I'm going to show you how to caramelize some onions.
Perfect.
So stay tuned.
Great.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Cori. I'm your host, Cori Doern. I've got Melissa with me, and we are making pizza using everything that was harvested at the farm that Melissa and I are affiliated with, you know, Clearwater Farm, and Melissa's farm, Tenfold Farm. And so we've canned it and packed it up, and now it's, you know, very cold out, and now we're utilizing that fresh harvest bounty to make some yummy pizza. All right, so what we've done is in the last section, you saw me reducing the sauce and cooking up the garlic, and this lovely concoction here is what you get after you've let it simmer and reduce for a little bit, this beautiful pizza sauce. And now we're going to get caramelizing some onions.
Yes, please.
So I'm just going to set it up, and then you can talk about how you're going to do the dough.
That would be great.
Key thing when you're doing any kind of caramelization, or you want to get a good color on it, is if you're using butter, you want to put a little bit of oil in the pan before you add the butter. And what does that do? It stops the butter from blackening. You also don't want to wait until the oil is smoking. If it is, then just lift it right off the element. But this oil is quite hot, so this butter is going to get melty very quickly. You can actually even hear it.
Beautiful.
And we also agree that not only do we like a lot of garlic, we like a lot of butter in everything that we do. So I'm going to let this butter melt a bit.
Perfect.
And I'm going to let you start talking away about what you're doing with that dough.
So the only thing left to do right now is just to knead the dough slightly. And so we're going to do that. It's very easy. The kids love to get involved with this. We let the 2-year-old get in there, and she calls it squish and squash. So it's just, and you don't have to do this a lot. You just get it a little bit worked in. So you want to activate all that gluten. That's what's going to make your pizza dough nice and stretchy. And that's basically done.
Right, so this is not a gluten-free pizza dough that we're doing. No. This is a gluten-heavy pizza dough.
And then, sorry, last thing that you want to do is a little bit of oil in a big bowl. Pop your dough in there. And you're just going to let it proof or rise for, depending on the warmth of your kitchen, the warmth of your space, anywhere up to an hour.
Fantastic.
And then we're going to make some toppings.
Yummo. All right, well, my butter is nice and melty, as you can see. You can actually see the solids are coming up to the top. If you were going to do like a brown butter sauce, then that little frothy stuff that you see on top is actually going to turn kind of brown and take on a nutty consistency. But we're not doing that. We're going to caramelize these beautiful onions. All right. And so now that the butter has melted, I've got the temperature on low, and I'm going to crank it up a bit. And because I want them to caramelize, I'm not going to add any kind of salt or anything to it. Because salt is going to release the water that's inside of this onion, and I don't want it to do that. I actually kind of want it to be on a higher heat so that it can initially kind of start to get a little bit of color, and then I'm going to bring that heat down a bit so that the moisture in there will get a natural caramelization, sweetness, you know, happening. I'm not going to do a caramelized onion where you can add a sugar to it or a balsamic or anything like that. We're just going to do a natural onion because we're doing a savory pizza.
Yep, that's great.
So put me to work. What is next?
Next, if you could dice up the bacon, please.
Okay.
And that's bacon from the forested heritage pigs that we raise at our farm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah.
What are forested heritage pigs?
Well, we started raising pigs a little bit differently. Traditionally, pigs are raised in a barn. They're young are taken away or separated from them at a young age. And we wanted to do things a little bit differently. So we have 10 acres of swampy cedar at our place in Wabashine.
Right.
That is really well suited to raising pigs.
Do you want a coarse chop or do you want
coarse chop? Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we're
going
totally
for rustic
for this pizza.
And we do want all the fat in this. You're not going to have me trim the fat off because...
No, you definitely don't have to do that.
Okay.
So we raise our pigs outdoors 365 days a year, and they live in the forest, moved around with electric fencing, and live in rustic huts that Nathan makes from the trees that he fells as they naturally help us transform the landscape. So
these pigs are having a happy life.
They are very happy pigs.
Do you mind giving the onions just a little bit of a...
We can. Was this what you were
stir?
using?
I was.
Okay, good. So Cori's chopping up our Berkshire bacon.
It is chopped.
And we are going to put that into the pan and get it nice and crispy, and then we're going to do the kale.
Yum-o.
Okay.
Would you mind passing me the pan?
Can do. Watch out.
And it feels like it's hot?
Yeah.
Ooh, you can hear the sizzle. Good. That is a good sign. You want to hear that. If you hear nothing, then you didn't get it hot enough, and it's kind of going to be a little bit of a disadvantage for you.
Perfect.
All right, what I'm going to do, just for health and safety's sake, because I'm really high maintenance about that. You all know that about me. I'm going to flip this cutting board over and ask you to chop the kale.
Yep, I can do that.
With this handy-dandy knife.
Perfect.
And that way we don't have any cross-contamination.
Okay. Good. Actually, why don't I move this over here?
Thank you.
And so we have two different kinds of kale here, and this did really, really well at Clearwater Farm this summer. This stuff here is a beautiful Dinosaur Kale. So this I don't...
Why is it called Dinosaur Kale? Because it's huge?
I have no idea, Cori.
Because there's purple kale.
Nathan would be able to tell you without even blinking. With our agreement, he grows it and I sell it. So, yeah, we work as a team like that.
And you sell it to me, and I make it into yummy, yummy, yummy things to eat.
You got it.
Ideally.
You got it.
Right. You can actually see with the butter and the steam that's coming off of this, it's when we're going to turn up the heat, the water that is being released. So in a case like this, if this butter was salted, then the salt in the butter is naturally released the liquid. Again, not a problem. If you've gone, I use salted butter, or oops, I forgot that I'm not supposed to salt it until the end. Don't worry about it. Turn up the temperature so that this beautiful steam that hopefully you guys are seeing at home is coming up out of the pot, and it's reducing the liquid, and then that's where the sugars are going to start to happen, and you're going to start seeing a really nice brown.
Yeah, looks great.
So for those of you at home, I've got this on max. It's on high, high, high.
Good. The other kale that we're going to use today is a curly leaf kale. I believe it's also called an Italian kale. And I did de-vein that one. I took the thick stem out of it. It's something that I would eat if we were doing a stir fry or a sauteing something. Yeah. But on a pizza, you don't want to bite into that big, thick chunky. So I've taken that out.
Bacon, I
Okay.
like to use. I'm a kind of person who likes using tongs. I just find they're really handy. You know,
Yeah,
they do
easy.
everything.
Yeah. So what we're going to do after the bacon cooks, we're actually going to slightly wilt the kale in the bacon fat.
Okay.
And you don't have to do that. You could put this kale on your pizza raw, but I like a little bit of wilted kale, and it adds an amazing flavor to it too.
Right, and I've got a fun fact about the whole kale thing.
Okay.
That kale is one of those greens that actually increases in nutritional value when you cook it.
Amazing. I like
Crazy,
it.
no?
I like it.
Most other veggies are not so much.
Yeah.
Okay, when we come back after the break, you're going to see all of this beautiful stuff come together to
Yep.
make a lovely pizza.
Awesome.
Check us out after the break.
Great.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Cori. I am Cori Doern, your host, and with me is Melissa, and we are at the final stages of making our pizza.
Our bacon pizza.
Our bacon pizza.
Yep.
I don't know if I can get an overhead on this, but if you look at the pot with my onions, you can actually see that they're starting to get that nice little color. Now, the thing, I got to say this, the thing about caramelizing onion is that once you start to get that color, you want to turn it down, and then it becomes low
Yep.
and slow.
Yep, that's good.
We are going to be baking this pizza in the oven, so I'm okay with it not getting super duper translucent and caramely.
Yep.
But I'll let that keep going while you
Okay.
do your thing.
Good. So the last thing that one of the last things that we're going to do is just take our dough. This is one that I made earlier, but you can see it's risen up a lot. It looks wonderful. It's got a lot of spring in it. So we're going to take that. The batch that we made today, the 4 cups of flour, actually makes 4 different pizzas. So
And that's one or the...
I left 2 at home. So this is a 2 batch.
Fantastic.
Yep. So what I'm going to get you to do...
Do you want me to get the kale into that? Or
What I
not
like
yet?
to do, Cori, is I like to let the bacon fat cool down a little bit so it doesn't cook the kale. We just want it slightly wilted. So I'll give that another minute.
Perfect.
And then we'll do the kale. But what I'll get you to do is squish and squash and make that flat.
Squish and squash and make that flat. Okay, so I'm a newbie doing this. So for those of you at home who have never done this,
Yep, perfect.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah, I use the heel of my hand. I use my 2-year-old uses her elbow. She gets right in there. You just want to break down those. What am I trying to say? The things that join the pizza together, you want to just flatten it out a little bit. If you are making this...
Am I getting rid of the air or?
Yeah, you're getting rid of the air. That's a good way of putting
there
it.
was...
An air pocket.
Yeah.
If you're doing
Excellent.
this and you find it's not flattening out, it's not going down or stretching out enough, let it rest for 10 minutes and then it will lose that springiness.
Right.
So that's great. If you want to start putting on our pizza sauce.
I do.
Yep.
But I just kind of want to move this out of the way.
Good.
Because those are the jalapenos that I wanted to chop up or dice up. But I'm
Well-
going to use these ones that are kind of circular.
This is going to be happier for our bellies. The ones at the front here, the small jar of the multicolored ones, are habaneros, which are ridiculously
yes, they are hot.
The jalapenos this year were very hot, but they're not uncomfortable.
Okay, so while I'm doing this,
Yep.
Let me just ask you, is
Yep.
this...
It's perfect. Well done.
I did
Good
it
job.
right.
Yep.
Yay! Okay, so now we've got our beautiful, beautiful sauce.
Yep.
And I'm just spreading it out. And I didn't need to put any olive oil or anything on it because we already did that in that stage.
Nope,
so
you're
it
good.
was rising. And I kind of like, again, my pizza, I like it a little rustic. You know, this, I mean, we're making a pizza dough, but you could call it schiacciata if you wanted to. You could call it a flatbread. Any kind of fun thing that you want to be putting on top just to make it yummy.
So I put this kale into the pan. That was much too hot for my liking.
Yes.
So I'm not going to leave it in there that long. We can pop it right on top of the pizza.
Beautiful.
And when it's in the oven, which you're going to do for about 15 to 20 minutes at 450 degrees, it's going to continue to cook. So you can see that little bit of cooking just gave it an amazing bright color.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, it's already got a beautiful color to it. But, you know, that's the thing about quick flash frying or blanching.
Yep.
It just brings out the most beautiful colors that you could possibly imagine. Do you want jalapenos underneath?
Jalapenos underneath would be
Well,
great.
I mean, like in the
Yep.
So while I'm doing this, let me just say this. Okay. Jalapeno, the meat of it, is actually not stupid spicy. It's quite lovely. Jalapeno pith and seed, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That is where the heat is. So if you are concerned about heat and, or you have somebody who's coming over and they love heat,
Yep.
the guest who's concerned about heat, you just give them the flesh of the pepper. And the person who loves heat, you chop it up and you include these lovely little pith and seed part, and they will just be super duper happy campers about it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not going to go super crazy.
Nope.
I do love heat, although I find that the smaller the pepper, the hotter the heat, and the larger the pepper, not so much.
When we do our long hot red chilies, I think they're called serrano chilies, we take out all the seeds because they're extremely hot.
Right. Ghost peppers, scorpion peppers, the whole, mix of it.
Yep.
Very, very scary. So this is looking absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? Those onions have got a beautiful color to them as well.
Yep.
I'm just going to say, I'm a freak about cross-contamination. That's why during the break I went and washed my hands. But we're putting everything on the same pizza. So I'm in your kitchen. If you're going to be putting it all together and it's the same thing, no problem. Just don't do raw to raw. We're using the tongs with cooked bacon. This case, it's now the cooked onion. We know it's going to the oven. That's going to cook to a great temperature already.
Yep.
So away we go.
Very good
and
point.
so this is pizza.
Yep.
From fresh ingredients.
You got it.
Canned, farm fresh, chemical free. So good. You saw us whip it together in this time. So through the magic of television.
Through the magic of television, we're gonna add some cheese.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yes, cheese.
That's okay. It's the magic of television.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cheese, I'm going to say for this kind of pizza, you could do a mozzarella cheese or a cheddar cheese, an Asiago.
Yep.
If you want to get really fancy, you could do a camembert or a brie or even a goat cheese.
Yep.
I'm not going to recommend a feta because I think it would be far too salty if you did that.
You could do that with some different toppings. That would be wonderful. Yeah.
Right. And then poof.
Amazing.
Release smoke
well done.
bomb. And this is our finished product. And the only difference between this one and that one is, like Melissa said, this one has some cheese on it.
Yep.
So, yum.
Yeah,
this knife is the only knife I used to cut the kale. So.
And can I use this cutting board? Is that one good?
Sure.
Okay.
That one is good. The nasty one has been put away, and I don't mean nasties and it's bad cutting board. I just mean it had raw bacon on it, and we're not gonna put our pizza that we just finished cooking onto a raw bacon board.
No,
that would be bad.
Yeah.
So presentation, I'm a big fan about presentation. I know that people want to do the wheelie triangular. No. I'm not a fan of that.
No, I'm good with a chef knife. Go for it.
This is your creation.
Okay.
I'm going to get a plate too.
Let's do that. Great. So usually when it comes out of the oven, we like to let it sit for a few minutes because if you cut it right out of the oven, all those toppings are going to fold into your cut.
Right.
So definitely let it rest, and let's make it rustic and delicious. This is me being really inefficient with a knife?
No, this is you being really efficient with a knife.
All right.
And I like how you were holding your knife, too. That was really beautiful. And I'm going to make every single person in the studio really jealous. I'm telling you now, people here are going, I want some of that. Don't eat it all. Well, I am going to eat it all, so ha, ha, ha. I'll share with Melissa. For those of you who want the recipe, I want you to go to www.rogerstv.com or check me out at www.coriscafe.com. Melissa, thank you so much for making this fantastic pizza.
Nice to come and play.
I do want to eat some.
Okay.
I know that you possibly want to eat some too.
Yeah, I'm starving.
I'm going to be real about this too because
if you don't like it, tell me.
I don't like when people eat something and they're like, this is so good. I just love it. And you know that they're not loving it. So I always say I'm going to be real.
Perfect. Let me know what you think.
Really great. We're going to want to keep this recipe. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Cori.